Well, hey everybody, Wild Bill here with another. In a previous video, I think I titled it, Paul was one battered apostle, but it never broke him. I want to show in this video, just kind of a quick one I hope, but if it's not, it's not. But that suffering, pain, and tribulation, these are useful tools in the toolbox of our Father. I know people don't like that, but it's simply the truth. And I want to bring that out. But Paul, in his, he was told at his conversion, that he was going to be shown what great things he would suffer for the sake of Christ. Yep. And most people would look at Paul in his day now, and they did. And you might say, well, we would never do this, but most people would look at him and they'd say, Paul, you must be sinning. You're lying. You're a hypocrite. There's bad things. You must be way off the mark of being pleasing to God. Why would they say that to Paul? Well, because look at the sufferings and the pain and the heartache and the anguish and so on and so forth that he endured. And people do that today. And that's the mark of the Pharisees as well back in the day. Because they believed that if a man is blessed, in other words, in their eyes, the blessed meant got plenty of money, got plenty of stuff, and walking around healthy and healed all the time. That meant that God was pleased with you. Otherwise, God was not pleased with you. That's the reason you're sick. That's the reason you're broke. That's the reason there's bad things happening to you all the time. Can you see how misconstrued and how misunderstood that God is in His ways? Job's 3 friends said the same thing about Job. So, Job, you got to be sinning. You got to be messed up. Otherwise this stuff wouldn't happen. This bad stuff, this wickedness don't happen if God is pleased with you, Job. Well, I want to talk about Job. Maybe we'll do that in the future, but over there in 2 Corinthians 12, Paul, it talks about how Paul said to keep me from exalting myself because of the exceeding revelations, exceeding greatness of the revelations. He said, because of those revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given to me. A better translation would be like a shaft with a point on the end of it, a stake, not a little bitty old thorn. And it was given to him. And it was a messenger of Satan, right? To torment him, it says. Now this was given to him. I wonder who gave it to him. Well, we'll find out. To keep him from exalting himself, he said. It was given to him. And he said concerning, and I think this next verse reveals who gave it to him. And concerning this thorn in the flesh, this messenger of Satan, it says that he pleaded with the master 3 times to take it away. Why would he be talking to the master about this thorn in the flesh? Why didn't he just, if it was the devil that up and decided at his whim that he was just going to do this, Why didn't he just rebuke the devil? Ain't that what we're taught from a lot of people? Just rebuke the devil. No, he went straight to the source. He went to the master and he said, please take this back. Take it away from him. And the master said to him something. He said, nope. My grace is sufficient for you, and for my power is perfected in weakness. He's revealing some things here, that these sufferings that Paul was experiencing were useful for the master. For Paul in particular. So Paul said back to that, he said, most gladly I take pleasure. He said, most gladly I will rather boast in my weaknesses, so that the power of the Messiah rests on me. He boasts in his sufferings and his weaknesses. He said, therefore I take pleasure in weaknesses, in insults, in needs. These are physical things. In persecutions, being hunted down for the purpose of killing, in distresses for the sake of the Messiah. For when I am weak, then I am strong. You know, it was Paul that was with Silas. Remember that? They'd been threatened and beaten for the sake of the Messiah. Whip laid on their backs. Their backs were bleeding. And they praised God for it. That they were counted worthy to suffer for the name of Christ. He says, I take pleasure in that. Now there's a man who got his priorities right. You know, this is so counterintuitive to the culture of today. Even the message of today from the evangelical leadership is opposite to any of this that Paul was trying to get across to us. We ought to be ashamed of that. Hey, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. We'll continue.